Welcome back. Now that we've exposed the traps, let's dive into reclaiming your power. In this part, we'll show you exactly how to set strong standards while staying open to real connection. Let's rewrite the narrative together.
Just a reminder, this is part 2 of a 3-part series of the fall of feminism on the Girls Gone Wise podcast. So if you haven't listened to the first part, go ahead and swing back and listen to that first.
But the next level, which is like, I think a divine relationship, which is something that I'm in right now, and I totally, fully, 100% feel it in my bones, is where there's so much trust that you just give and he just gives. And you don't even count it. You don't keep score. Yeah, you don't keep scores. Like, I'll just do my best and you do your best. But that, unfortunately, has to be built over time, because in the beginning, if you go into something with that intention and you meet someone who's not elevated and on that level, then you can end up like falling onto the first phase. So it's good to have like the middle one is better and healthier until you fully establish and fully get to know the other person, and then aim for that divine relationship. But in the beginning, if you go in without knowing the person properly and just having the best intention in your heart, that's why good men and good women usually get hurt most, because they aim for that divine relationship with someone they don't know, and instead of ending up here or there, they end up at the bottom where they're either foodie calls or booty calls.
100%. And it's discernment. I think it's the biggest thing is to know where it is discernment, right? And discernment comes like we feel it in our body, I think. At least that's how I experience it. But it also comes over time. It doesn't come in like, oh, I met this person, he's so amazing, and all of these things. It comes over time. The same thing with men, like, oh, like I met this woman and she's so amazing. It's like, okay, see how she shows up over time.
And butterflies don't count. We used to think butterflies are, I don't know where we got
butterfly
that from, are actually trauma responses.
They are a trauma response.
Like, this feels familiar in a bad way. My body has suppressed it, so I don't know what it is. This is reminding me of something that gave me anxiety.
Yeah,
that's what I don't have any scientific proof, but like I just, that's how I always thought of butterflies. Every time I had butterflies for a situation or a person, it felt like exhilarating and exciting, but not for the good reason.
Exactly. I can actually speak to this on a trauma level. So the body is essentially perceiving something familiar that happened in the past that was traumatic. It wasn't a good experience. So it gives you like a jolt of energy, this almost high. And we've been taught that that's love. That's not love. That's literally your body saying there is a red flake
but
here.
It's excitement. And you mistake the excitement for love, but it is excitement in a way that like, oh, like I'm fully alert now. I need something's going on. There's mystery around this.
It's an arousal in your nervous system is what it is. It's energy. Like trauma is stuck energy. So it's like, oh, I've experienced this. So there's an arousal. Like your central nervous system essentially gets triggered into a trauma response, into fight and flight. And this is why it feels like, quote, exciting. You can put that label on it. But it's your body saying, this is familiar to something that happened that was dangerous in the past or not a good situation. Pay attention. Your body's literally communicating for you to pay attention instead of, oh, this is love. But if we look at the movies, sometimes we're kind of indoctrinated into this, and I definitely was. And it's like, oh, butterflies, this love of my life.
And have you noticed that every time you have the butterflies, you get insecure?
Yes.
Like you try to change yourself. Like it's almost like a power imbalance. Like every time you have butterflies for someone, you end up like not being able to fully embody who you actually are. You want to make yourself perfect or better than, or you can't really talk comfortably or say what you actually feel. So every time I've honestly seen, I don't know if there's a like a causal relationship, but there's definitely a correlation between butterflies and feeling of insecurity.
100%.
Like when you have butterflies for someone, you won't be able to be in their presence without makeup. Have you noticed that? Every time, especially when I was like a young teenager, every time I had a crush on someone, I couldn't be myself around them. Somehow it wasn't enough. So how is that a good feeling? But as a teenager, I wasn't smart enough or wise enough to connect these. And now as an adult, I'm like, oh my God, I should have known.
Yes.
That this was bad news.
You try and prove yourself to that person because it's like, whatever happened when you were young, it's like you're trying to earn mommy's love or daddy's love or somebody, a crush when you were younger and you felt like you weren't good enough for them. So you're like trying to like repeat the pattern, but rewrite the story.
And win this time.
But
I couldn't tame my dad or my mom or get what I like, mom issues, dad issues, right? So like now this time around, like with my love relationship, I would be able to like win this time. And by winning, it means I'm gonna win over that trauma with my like mom or dad or some other person in my past that actually traumatized me or affected me in a negative way. And we just seem to want to put ourselves in that hero's journey again.
Yes.
Of like doing it this time, but winning.
Different cycle. And your body's like, don't go there.
Yeah.
And for anybody who, I'll just say trauma is what happens inside your body, not necessarily the event. So it's how your subconscious mind processes the event and what you make it mean about you. So even if you had an amazing childhood, it doesn't mean that, oh, well, I don't have trauma and the butterflies. So therefore it's like, we all have trauma. We all have these moments. Maybe you wanted your mom's attention. You were 2 years old and the stove was boiling over and she ran to the stove and you processed that I'm not chosen. Right.
Even though she was trying to save you or the house from being like set on fire.
Exactly.
That's why reframing really helps.
Yes.
So sometimes I actually started doing it recently and I go back, like sometimes I meditate and I go back to something in the past that has like hurt me permanently and has become part of my personality. And then I try to like reframe it as to like, what could be another way of looking at this? For example, if a boss was mean to you, instead of, oh my God, I wasn't worthy enough, I didn't get the promotion because he was mean to me. What if he was just incompetent? And I was reminding him because of my own, like his incompetence because I was competent. So that means that job was below me. And it was that was a sign that I had to go apply for a better job instead of like, I'm lesser than, he wanted to get rid of me. He didn't want to give me promotion. So like reframing it as in like, it's the same thing, but tell yourself a different story or not different. Sometimes that story is actually the correct story. Does that make sense? Like, I feel like 100%. Reframing is actually such an underrated thing where we come up with a story for something and we just assume that that's how it was just one version of the reality.
100%.
And that also, you have to take into consideration how young you were at the time where that happened. Like a lot of our traumas are from the time where we didn't actually have the mental capacity to actually analyze and understand a lot of things.
Exactly.
So it was just like an emotional imprint. Or like because we're vulnerable, we just wanted to protect ourselves and came up with like the worst explanation for that behavior. Like imagine if your dad came home when you were 6 and he just ran into their room and just slept. To you is like, dad is abandoning me. But as an adult, like I've had some days at work when I'm like, I just really want to go home and sleep. It had nothing to do with you. So sometimes you look back and you're like, oh, my dad probably just really needed to sleep. And the whole time, maybe he even wanted to hug me, but like he was just exhausted.
Exactly.
And then it changes the whole trauma. You're like, oh my God, I've been living with this truth that my dad didn't love me because of something that like now as an adult, I'm like, there's a 99% chance that wasn't the real story. That was just the way I perceived that.
And we don't really know what's going on for other people unless we ask them. It's like, even this can be brought into friendships or like any area of our life. I know for me, I make up the craziest stories sometimes. And then I just end up having a clearing conversation, asking that person, and they're like, oh, like, of course you were invited to this event, like your family, like, you know, we make up these stories sometimes because of how we see the world and these imprints usually when we're young and we just got on a whole rant.
Oh my God, I just remembered something. It just came to me.
Go for it.
But I think it's relevant. So a good example of this is I remember when I was 16, I got invited to this party through a friend who went to a different high school, and I didn't know anybody there except my friend. And I went there by myself because that was like that's like I was just going to her party. I didn't go with a group of people because her friends were my friends. And I remember there was a guy there that I kind of knew through like our friends group. And he made fun of me saying, oh, like you came alone, like you didn't have any other friends to come with. And in that moment, it made me feel awkward because I was like, no, it's just because I only know the birthday girl. But I didn't say it to him because I was like, just like caught off guard. And then years later, many years later, actually quite recently, I saw him at the grocery store. And then he came and said, hi. He's like, oh, I haven't seen you in so long. And then I was like, oh yeah, remember that night, by the way? And then he, obviously now that we're both mature, he told me that I had a big crush on you. And I felt like you're gonna say no to me. I was actually quite impressed with how like mature he was. I was shocked about the explanation. He said, I said that to you to make you feel like I wanted to dance with you, but I felt like I wanted to be able to control the situation because I thought otherwise, like, do you know what I mean? He said it in a very articulate way. I don't remember, but it was more like, I tried to attack you in that way, so you lose a little bit of your confidence.
It's called negging. It's a
tactic.
tactic.
So I can, so you feel alone there, so you end up, so you dance with me. He tried to make me feel like, oh, I don't know anybody at that party. So, but the way he did it was like, I think his intention was maybe in the right place, or right, maybe it's not the right word, but like, he liked me. That was the reason. But he thought that if he doesn't isolate me or make me feel like I'm alone, he's not gonna have a chance at dancing with me.
So let's talk about this. It's called negging. So whether it's a man or a woman, they will give you a backhanded compliment or an insult. So it's almost like you're putting them on a pedestal because they've hurt you, and then you're trying to earn their love, their attention. Again, it's actually a tactic. They teach this tactic in some, I don't know, there's like some community or book. I forgot the name of the book.
It was such a healing moment though for me.
Of course.
Like, it was just like, I was like so impressed. I was like, wow, he's a grown man now. I respect this guy. Because like the whole time I was like, why did he say that to me? Like, I went to that party by myself, but it doesn't mean I didn't have any friends. He was like, I didn't know anybody else that was going to that specific party because she had other friends. And why would he say that to me? And it was always part of my memory of that night. Then he said, yeah, because I want to dance with you. And I felt like, if you think you don't know anybody, then I will definitely have a chance to be your companion that night.
Yeah, but he's doing it in a degrading way.
I know, but I think we were all kids, right? Like, it was kind of innocent. But I think people do it with worse intentions as adults.
There's literally people, this is why I'm bringing this up, teaching these tactics.
Which is messed up.
Which is like, pay attention. Like, not just, well, yes, but pay attention to this, because if somebody is intentionally doing this over and over, of course it was innocent and you were young back then, but I'm saying this is literally called negging. And I will try and remember the name of the book. I actually had a friend years ago who told me to read this book because it was happening to me. And I read this book and it unveiled all of these manipulation tactics that people are actually teaching. So if people are doing this, again, that's not healthy love. And maybe it's coming from a pure place, but also there's people teaching this.
Or insecurity. Like in this case, he was insecure. He thought that if he doesn't make me feel isolated, he's not gonna have a chance. But why did he think that?
Yeah.
Why did he think I'm not gonna dance with him anyway?
He was,
you know what I mean? So sometimes people who come up with this manipulation techniques are the people who actually need love most.
I feel like they are the most wounded.
Yeah.
Anytime we feel like we need to manipulate, we don't feel solid.
They automatically feel rejected. They're like, oh, if I don't manipulate, I'll get rejected. Like, why though? Why do they think that?
Exactly. I think it all comes down to trauma, honestly. But the fact of the matter is, when we feel like we need to manipulate, we have the perception that we're not good enough as we are. And so nobody's going to choose us. So it's actually hurting people. And you also don't need to put up with it, because if somebody's in that, then until they actually do their inner work, nothing's going to shift. Nothing's going to shift.
And it's really difficult to teach someone how to deal with that. They have to go to therapy or like
trauma healing.
You can't
shadow work.
You can't love them through it. It has to be done individually. Separately.
Yes, they have to choose to do it. Could say more on this, but I'll leave it there. Okay, what's the difference between standards and boundaries and manipulation with women?
I actually just thought about this right now, so it's fresh in my mind. So I think boundaries is I'm protecting myself. Manipulation and exploitation is what can I get out of you? So
I like this.
So with the foodie call is like, oh, you're one of the 1,000 guys I'm flirting with, but what can I get out of you tonight? Let's go spend money on me. With boundaries is like, oh, you just asked me to come over to your place at 10 p.m. and it's not a party, it's just me and you, but I haven't even met your friends, and there's a high chance that you're gonna try to have sex with me. Like, obviously you're not gonna explain this to them, it's gonna be an internal monologue. And then, so no, sorry, I'm busy tonight, thank you very much, next time maybe. But very polite, very nice. So that's boundaries. I'm not taking anything away from the guy. I'm just saying, don't exploit me. I think that's the difference. But that's just, there could be other things to it. That was the first thought that came to me.
I love that. It's not, you're
the
trying
intention.
to, it's intention. You're not trying to extract. You're trying to protect yourself, your body, your heart, your life.
Like, I'm not available
your happiness. Yes. Versus what can I get from you? I love that.
And with men too, I think this was like, we were going to talk about men as well, because I feel like men are underrepresented when it comes to these things. For men, it's boundary. If the woman is trying to like take you out shopping and she hasn't even like dated you for like a week, then you can just say, no, unfortunately this month I think I would not be able to, I need to budget things for my personal use or something like that. But like, that's boundary. But exploitation would be, oh, I'm just gonna ask her to come over, tell her that we're gonna go shopping, and then have sex with her and never call her back. So in that case, you're just extracting things from this woman. In the first scenario, you're saying, no, I'm not letting you exploit me. You're not gonna drain my wallet, because we are not anything. There's no reason for me to provide for you and protect you. Because you're talking to 1,000 guys out there, and I don't want to be just one of your numbers.
And you haven't earned that place. She hasn't earned that place in your life yet. Like, there's something that she has to give. It's not necessarily like, oh, she has to give money or she has to give her body. It's like,
those are just examples.
Those are examples, but it's like this common, okay, it's reciprocal in some way, shape, or form. We're not talking about like penny pinching or I did this tit for tat.
Example because they're tangible.
It's
the energy behind it. It doesn't have to be shopping. It can be like your attention, like a woman telling you, oh, you have to call me every, like they call me every day, or help me with this or help me with that, and you're like, unfortunately I don't have time for that, because deep inside your intuition tells you you're being friend zoned. Like, she only calls you when she needs help with her homework or she needs a ride somewhere. Like, but there's nothing coming your way in any way, shape, or form, attention, affection, nothing. So you just know it. I feel like a lot of people know, but they don't want to admit it.
100%. And even if you are dating somebody, I think, or in a relationship, it's like you can still, I don't know. I think it's really hot when a man actually has boundaries, because I think women sometimes unconsciously they're like, okay,
testing the guy.
They're testing if we had a family together, and it's unconscious. If we had a family together, would this man protect our family?
Would you be able to say no? Because no is a complete sentence, and a lot of people don't know that.
And I think it's really attractive. Like, if a man has boundaries and says no, even to me, I'm like, wow, he is like a protector, right? And so it's an unconscious thing that I think like men, it's okay to say no, and in fact, like, the right woman is really gonna like that. And I think when women have a lot of, if they didn't have a dad growing up that was very masculine, protector, provider,
they feel like pushing the boundaries.
They don't like when men are attractive, but are attractive.
They don't like.
They don't like when
stand their ground.
A man stands his ground and says no. But a woman who grew up with a father that is healthy, protector, provider, I'm going to protect the family no matter what, she's going to find no very attractive. She's going to be like, wow, if we have a family one day, he's going to protect us.
And I feel like a lot of women who don't have that healthy male figure in their lives, they confuse authority with toxic power. So sometimes when a man shows authority because they've never had it before, they confuse it with toxic behavior.
Yeah.
Like the man is saying no because of a reason that it's good, like he's trying to protect the situation, but because you've only seen negative, the negative side to that power, like to that authority, you think it's toxic power, he's abusing his power, whereas like there's a line between those two. Like power and authority, like power doesn't have to be corrupt. Sometimes power is authority, and authority means because the person knows how to take care of the situation, it's actually an investment for you to allow that person to take care of the situation.
Exactly.
It doesn't mean they're trying to exploit you. But women who had bad fathers or toxic and traumatic childhood growing up, and bad, like toxic male figures in their lives, they just automatically think that any authority is bad authority. Yeah,
they associate the two instead of realizing that actually that authority sometimes can help us. It can protect us. It's there for a reason. Like, and it's because when we're young, that's our only representation of the world. Like our parents are our blueprint. And so when we think something's normal, and you know, maybe we think abuse is normal, and oh, the masculine causes abuse, or even the feminine causes abuse, and then we write this story of how the world is, when that's only like a small vein of it, until we actually look at, okay, what are my beliefs? Is that actually, are these beliefs about how men are or women are, or authority?
Like because of how I grew up. And the same thing again applies for men in a relationship, to actually know someone who is with a very good woman, and this woman has a really good habit of nesting and preserving their resources and like investing and stuff, but he grew up in a toxic family where the mom was like squandering all of the money, like just spending it on things that didn't retain their value and stuff. So he has a hard time giving her access to that, even though she's doing it. But it's kind of like the same thing, you know, toxic power and authority when it comes to men. It's like women and nesting in this situation. Any other man would 100% appreciate that, but he has a hard time because his own father lost everything because he gave access to the family resources to a woman who would just squander and get away. Whereas this woman is trying to build something. And I had a conversation with him. I said, this is your trauma. Look at where your money is going. It's either in like an RRSP or a, which is like a Canadian equivalent of, I think 401k, I think is that right? And or it's she's buying property or gold or something like that. She's not going away and squandering it on like multiple shopping sprees, but like it's not her, it's you. You have a hard time giving access to your resources because your mom destroyed your dad's life. So this is you. And I remember talking to him, and he just had this like his eyes opened up without even, like I wasn't even like, we were just having coffee, but it was just like he had a moment of epiphany. So that's like the male equivalent. The authority thing that a lot of women have problems with. A lot of men have problems with women who are, it's like their behavior reminds them of a toxic version of that behavior when they were growing up with their own mothers or sisters.
100%.
Like the earlier relationships in their lives.
100%, which is why like looking at the actual facts is so important. And then like, you know, healing whatever trauma, if it's running your life, then deal with that. But then look at the actual facts, because we make snap judgments so quickly, and it's like, oh, men are dangerous, or all men are trustworthy.
And it's not helping anybody.
It's not helping anyone. All men are trustworthy too. That could be another paradigm that's maybe not helpful, because all men are not trustworthy. Actually, how do they show up? Or all women are trustworthy, or all women aren't trustworthy. And it's like, you know, sometimes I know I've heard men ask me about this, where they're with a partner who's actually healthy and respects them and would never betray them, but they've been betrayed in the past. And so, I'm going out with girlfriends, and they get so triggered, even though she is trustworthy, that's their trauma. And so there's a discerning that needs to happen, and looking at the facts and looking at how people show up consistently, and also trusting your intuition. Because I think deep down, if we can get past the fear and the trauma, deep down, we know the truth. But people are thinking their intuition is their fear, which it isn't. It's deeper.
I've never regretted trusting my intuition.
Intuition always knows what's up.
Older than, I think maybe because it's older than your frontal lobe. I don't know scientifically, but I feel like logic came after, like in terms of evolutionary progress. I think it came after that intuition, because the intuition actually made us survive like
What?
bear
Yes,
attacks
I was
and like
gonna say.
living in the freaking like cave when we lived as cavemen.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think intuition was the one that protected us. And I think
100%.
animals have that too. Like
They
sometimes when you watch like shows about like wildlife, like the animal just knows there's a predator behind
Well,
it.
that's it.
Like, it's not logical, it's just like you feel it in your body and then you gotta run.
And they have a good read on people. Like my dogs, literally, they're like a litmus test because dogs can pick up so quickly. They will feel something off and bark. And then, you know, like who do the dogs go to?
Yeah.
Or horses, same thing. It's like people are like, oh, it's the horse. This horse is crazy. And it's like, no, maybe it's they're responding to the energy and the intention of the rider, right? And yeah, you're absolutely.
And to bring it back to the whole topic of our conversation, a lot of times men who get manipulated by these toxic women, they have a hunch already. Like they know. I talked to a lot of them. Like one night I was talking to another friend. He just knew, like he was like, oh, my girlfriend hasn't responded. And he said, I never have this feeling, but I have this feeling, because it's like it's normal that people don't respond right away. But like he had this feeling, it's like 9 p.m. and she hasn't talked to me for a while. And I was just like, trust your intuition, because do you always have this feeling when you haven't talked to her? And he was like, no, sometimes we go days without talking and I don't have this feeling. But tonight I have it. And he wasn't trusting it. And I feel like a lot of times men who get manipulated by women know deep inside there's something wrong.
Yeah.
But she's either so beautiful, or like there's a reason where they try to like look the other direction.
Yeah, they gaslight themselves
and then they get hurt, and then either like in the next relationship they go and hurt women and hate women, just like women have done before, or they just go their own way or go become passport bros. And I don't think it's maybe the healthiest way of dealing with
it's not.
That was part 2 of The Fall of Feminism. If you enjoyed this episode, we would be so grateful if you'd leave us a review. It helps us reach more people, grow the podcast, and continue creating conversations that challenge, inspire, and transform lives.
In the final episode of The Fall of Feminism on the Girls Gone Wise podcast, we're unpacking one of the most controversial dynamics in modern dating. Women often hold the gate to sex and intimacy, while men tend to hold the gate to commitment and provision. What does that actually mean? How does misunderstanding this dynamic lead to heartbreak, confusion, and resentment? And how can understanding it help you create healthier, more fulfilling relationships? We'll see you in part 3.
That was perfect.